Whitney Traylor's joining us now, an assistant professor at Metropolitan State University of Denver and a 9 News legal analyst. And first I have to ask you, what Alice touched on there was the opinion was written by Justice Gorsuch, but it was that side letter by Justice Kavanaugh that seemed to really stick a stake in the heart of the NCAA and make it very clear that the court doesn't see the NCAA as operating fairly.
Good afternoon, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. And that's a great point that Justice Gorsuch did write the opinion, and it was a unanimous opinion. Justice Kavanaugh, as you mentioned, Tom, wrote the only concurring opinion. And he went even further because really the opinion was looking at education-related expenses and whether students could receive those type of things, and whether schools restricting that was a violation of antitrust law. So they didn't go really further than that. But Justice Kavanaugh was very critical of the NCAA, and he said any other industry paying people this way would be a violation of the antitrust. And he made a good point. He said, look, if all the restaurants came together and cut cooks' wages because customers preferred to eat food from low-paid cooks, that argument would not fly. And that's essentially what the NCAA is doing.
How do you see it playing out? Obviously, this is a unanimous opinion, which does not happen all the time with the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. It was a very clear opinion in many ways. Where does the NCAA go from here? Where does college athletics, where does it evolve?
Right. Well, I think the writing was on the wall. I think there was just so much pressure to move in this direction. And the NCAA has been really under scrutiny since its inception in 1906. I mean, they were really looking at players being paid dating back to, to that time. So I think now you're going to see the NCAA has actually said they're working with Congress. They're trying to figure out a way to make payments. You've seen other state legislatures, including in Colorado, pass laws against this. So I think it's only going to be a matter of time before college athletes can be paid, carte blanche without any restrictions, including their names, images, and likeness, which right now they can't profit from either.
Yeah, when you think about the name, image, and likeness thing, you think of the #1 quarterback in college football being someone who could really cash in. But I was listening to Jack Swarbrick today on the radio, the athletic director for Notre Dame, and he was talking about there's a young lady who's a gymnast at LSU who has 5.7 million followers on TikTok. Mm-hmm. She can monetize that if that gets clear, and she might become the highest paid athlete in college sports if this was able to go that way. That name, image, and likeness thing might be the whole thing.
That's a great point, Tom. And I think that illustrates or amplifies somewhat the archaic nature of these rules. I mean, right now you have 14-year-olds making millions of dollars on social media, and these college athletes, these premier Division I elite athletes who have spent basically their whole life training, can't even go to a camp and make any money using their name that way. Whereas students who aren't even on scholarship could go and start a music camp or do things like that. But these college athletes are not allowed to do it. So it seems implicitly unfair to say, look, you're bringing in millions, billions of dollars into the schools, and the athletic directors, the coaches, and everyone else is getting paid. Now, you're not going to be able to get paid, but you're also not even able to monetize your social media. It's implicitly unfair, and the court didn't address name, image, and likeness, but based on Justice Kavanaugh's concurrence, I think you will see the name, image, likeness issue be resolved in the future, and athletes be able to use those things to monetize.
Well, we will, of course, keep an eye on it. We'll turn to you for more information as we go forward. Whitney Traylor, thanks as always. Good to visit with you.
Thanks. Good to be here.